Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here for our June council meeting, June 2021, meeting of Kingston Food Co-op council members. And we're seeing our summer attendance, which is totally fine. So council members in attendance today are KVS Avery and Katie Condra. And we have also here Siobhan, Outreach Coordinator, and Donna, Member. Thank you, everybody, for being here. So we're just going to quickly mention that we're recording this meeting. These council meetings are open to all members in good standing. It's a working council meeting typically, but because there's only 2 of us council members here today, it'll probably be an abridged version. We will be sending the agenda out ahead of time, and if you have any comments or questions as a member, you can send them to us ahead of time, or you can save them until the open forum portion of the meeting, which will be towards the end. There'll be time set aside for members to make comment, but because of time limitations, we want to make sure everyone gets a chance to speak. And today, I don't think it'll be an issue, but in general, we'll just make sure we have give everybody time and space to hear all voices. And then there may or may not be time for discussion of the topics that come up in the open forum. So if there's follow-up that's needed, it'll be on the agenda for a following meeting. And we'll have an executive session at the end, or we'll have time for an executive session at the end of each council meeting. There was a question from a member about the executive session, so I just want to make sure we get back to that at the end. But the question was essentially, why do we have an executive session? And is that, and how does that fit in with our core value of transparency? So we will address that during the open forums portion of this meeting. Let's see, maybe we can pass it to Siobhan for a quick member number update, if that's okay with you, Siobhan.
Sure. So our total membership is up to 1,147, which is great. And we have 183 solidarity members. We've kind of been at that number for a while, but yep, our total membership is 1,147.
Awesome, thank you. And let's see, we've got so we're in the portion of the meeting that's co-op updates. We have a couple upcoming membership events. Siobhan, do you want to tell us about those as well?
Yeah, sure. So we just had a co-op bike ride. That was the second Thursday of the month, and we're planning to do another one in July, the second Thursday in July, which would be the the 8th, Thursday, July 8th at 6 p.m. We met at the parking lot of the YMCA, and it's just a super chill, slow ride. It's not really intense. It's supposed to be fun and like a good pace for everybody, no matter what level biking experience you have. So that's one event we're having next month in July. We're also having a really fun summer party, which is going to be on Saturday, July 17th from 1 to 4. And it's going to be in the parking lot of the old Big Bubble laundromat, which is in between our co-op building on Broadway and Radio Kingston. And it's going to be super fun. There's going to be a DJ, lots of food, different activities for kids and people of all ages to do, games, that sort of thing. It's free for everybody. Everyone's invited and encouraged to come. So yeah, that is our other event happening next month, and we hope to see you all there.
Awesome. And this summer, we're going to be planning some other kind of fun and also more like education and outreach oriented events as well. So keep an eye out for those opportunities to get involved with the co-op. Let's see. Next, we're going to roll right through into financial report. Pass it to Kivius.
Yeah, hello. I think for the financial report, well, there are two things that I would like to do and highlight. One is just our overall budget, but two is that this month, when I was going through the financial reports, I saw that we have a solidarity share that came in. So that's super, super exciting in the first of the year. And we shared this document in our annual meeting. Oh, I can't share.
Sorry, let me give you. Oh, it doesn't. Oh, Siobhan, do you have control to keep you
Let me check.
sharing?
Yeah, 1 second.
I think you're logged in on the co-op account.
I would make him host or co-host.
I think co-host is fine. Yeah.
Perfect. And we shared this document, which just kind of shows our overview expenses for the year. We had a question last time, sorry, about what the member equity was used for specifically, and exactly that. The best we could do is provide an overall breakdown that it goes into our organizational structure, the professional fees, operating and programming, and personnel. And we're very transparent and aim to be more and transparent about like what these services are. So just to put a face to the finances. So yeah.
Thank you. And I wanted to also just add that personnel number that you saw on that budget analysis looks pretty high. And so that is because we had budgeted in for a full-time general manager into this, as well as another part-time staff member that is for a program that we were hoping to have going now, but that we haven't gotten going. So those pieces, and that was like around business development and partnerships with other Midtown businesses and food security and food justice coordination. So that position is on hold. And so that's why that number looks kind of disproportionately large, because we only have 2 staff members at the moment. Okay, thank you, Kevius. And we're gonna move right on to working group updates. Kevius, do you want to talk a little bit about what's going on with our working groups this summer? Oh, you're muted.
I am muted. So this summer, the sun is out, so we are also going to be out. There are so many different community events that are happening that we can actually start to, the same theories or different ideas that we come up in our working group, we can actually rope in the multiple community partners in with it, and we can get their hands-on experience. There are so many different walks that are happening, so many different community gatherings and conversations, and our goal is to make sure that we're a part of it. So in the working group and at this stage of the organization, we're at a place where there's a lot of knowledge to acquire, right? We want to know as much as we can about the community, since we're building a structure that it should be reflective of the community. So if the community's out this summer, our goal is to also be out there. Treat this as a hands-on in-person research experience, right? You're getting that chance to know, you're getting that chance to connect, and we really want to dive into the crevices of the community where that may not be to the forefront, and make sure we're in there and we understand. So I know Siobhan mentioned some monthly events. Yes, the events calendar going forward would have a lot of these events that are in partnership with a bunch of community partners or even run by community partners that we just want to make sure we're supporting them on.
Great. So so while like the working group meetings are on hold for, like, we're just kind of taking a break from the Zoom portion, but there's going to be a lot of work to be done and a lot of volunteer opportunities and ways that co-op members can still be engaged in co-op work. But like the meeting time on Zoom is, we're just trying to pull it in a little bit more of a hands-on direction for the summer. And we'll have more to come on that. A lot of this is still kind of in process in terms of like how to best utilize everybody's talents and time. So we'll be saying a lot more about that really soon, and welcome questions about it. Okay, and then our building development committee is a committee that is, or a working group that is still meeting through the summer in an ongoing way, and has been working really hard on the architect selection process. So that has been ongoing. For those of you who have been following along on that, the building development committee started working in October of last year, and we spent time developing the request for qualifications, researching architectural firms, working with an owner's representative to develop a project implementation plan, which we're in the final stages of and will be ready to share with members and the broader community really soon. And so, and part of that has also been to interview architectural firms. So we got to our top 5 firms. We interviewed 4 of them. And the interview process was really fascinating. It was really helpful for us to just kind of get to know what the process of working with each of these firms might be like. We got a lot of really good tangible information in the request for qualifications submissions that we got from them. And the interviews, I think, were really have been pretty illuminating in terms of like how we know what is our alignment. That's really important to us, the values alignment, and you know, what it would be their process for engaging community in the design process. Does anybody, Siobhan or Kivius, do you have other thoughts? You've seen some of the interviews.
On the architect interviews, correct?
Yeah, just if you have any thoughts to share.
Well, I think, so, you know, since it's just 4 members, I think as members, the really exciting part of it is the participatory design aspect of it. Like the fact that, you know, everyone could collectively be a part of this process. It really kind of like, you can begin to make it your own and put your own fingerprint on it before it even opens. So, and I love that all of the architects that we've talked to, even though we haven't, you know, come down to exactly who that is, but everyone we've talked to has a good amount of experience in that and are willing to learn a lot more. So I'm really excited, you know, as a member and for the members to be in that process on the front lines of saying, hey, this is what we want, this is what we don't want, this is Kingston, this is not Kingston. And just to tie it back into all the fun things that are, you know, set up for the summer, this is a really good time to really gain that research on what is Kingston aesthetically, right? This will be your time to travel around as you go in and out of different buildings. So I'll carry these things and really look forward to that opportunity, because it's a seldom one in this world where development just sort of gets ahead of the community. I'm really excited about us being there, especially, you know, the wider Kingston audience being there. So yeah, I'm super excited about that.
Yeah, it's going to be really, it's going to be an interesting process, right? We get to make this thing from scratch. So it's a lot and it's fun, hopefully fun too. Okay, awesome. Oh, and then the next step for that process is that we're going to release the RFP, the request for proposals, which is the final stage of the selection process. The building development committee is going to finish working on that. We'll issue that to our final firms, and from there we'll make a selection about the architect, and then we can begin the next steps of the actual design. So we're getting there.
Can I ask a question
yeah.
about RFP before we move on? So the RFP, what is the main difference between the RFQ and the RFP? I know what they mean, RFQ, request for qualifications, RFP, request for proposals. What will be included in what the firms submit that they didn't discuss in their interviews or their RFQ?
It's a really good question. Okay, so the RFQ, the request for qualifications, is sort of like the first filter. So we want to make sure that everybody who, because it's a significant amount of work to put together one of these submissions, either for the RFQ or for the RFP. So we want to make sure that the people who are doing that work are like, have the qualifications in order to actually successfully complete the project. So that's just like our step 1 filter. It lets us know that you know, they can assemble a team that has the skills that we need to do this, that their firm is a size. It doesn't need to be a big firm, but it probably needs to be more than like one single architect. You know, they have to have the capacity both financially and person power, human capacity, in order to do quite a significant project of our size. And then the RFP is going to be kind of like, is the actual proposal that they'll submit for this specific project. So we're still writing the RFP, but it'll include more specific information about cost. And, we could potentially ask them for some preliminary ideas about our space and how it might be used. But those things are we're still kind of figuring out which pieces would go into the RFP. But this is where this final piece of the process is going to give us more specific information about our particular project and how each firm would work on it. Does that help? Does that
Yes,
answer?
thank
Cool.
you.
Yeah. Great question. Okay, cool. Anything else anyone wants to say about building stuff in general? Okay, cool.
I was just gonna say, I rewatched all the interviews today, and I think the Building Development Committee did a really good job of coming up with questions that ensure that when working with these firms, that they have our members' best interests and our values aligned. So I echo the same thing Kivia said, that I'm really excited for myself and for all the members for the participatory aspect of this part of co-op development, and it's going to be really fun.
Awesome. Me too. Me too. Cool. All right. So then our next piece is, our next agenda item is decisions and discussions. We have, Kivius, do you want to talk a little bit about the mission and vision?
Yeah, I can pull it up if I can find a document, or if you can find it faster than me, Katie.
Or I mean, not that we necessarily need to, we could say it out here, but maybe do you want to talk about the process?
Yeah.
Like what
We had sort of like an internal moment where we wanted to truly make sure we were as rooted in the community as much as possible, right? So a piece of that is also a lot of the summer work that we're doing, but we wanted to go to the core to really state what is our mission and what is our vision with this co-op, right? There are so many chances for us to, especially with a project of this size, to do damage in the community, as you know, we are attempting to do harm. But it really starts at that mission and vision to make sure we are aligned in every step of the way, and we have that base in which to do every single action item from. So we all came in together and bumped our heads and spent hours and hours and hours, over the past months and retreats. And though we say retreats, it's not as glamorous as it sounds. It's us in an office space, cramming our heads together on what our mission and vision statement is. And the next step for us is to present what we have come up with as our mission and vision statement, and then get our members to vote on it so that we can actually enact it. I don't know if it'll be, would it be appropriate to do here, Katie, you think?
I think because it's still, I think, in getting finalized stages, but I think what we can say is like, our original mission, which I'll read here, it's on our website, was Kingston Food Co-op will be a member and worker-owned cooperative market committed to providing fresh, local, nutritious, and affordable food to the Kingston community. Together, we work to support the changing needs of our members and to promote the well-being of our city and planet. And while I think all of those things are true, I think what we were finding was that it wasn't saying enough about alignment with our values and kind of like the future that we wanted to create. Like this mission statement was put together early on when our Kingston landscape looked really different, our membership looked really different, our everything I think was just really different. We have more information now, and so we want to use that to do better. So that's what we're working on now. And our mission and vision, the new versions are they're done, right? They're final, I think, at this point, KDS. Yeah, so you all the members will see that really soon. One of the things we wanted to talk about here is how we want to roll it out into the community. So, normally this would, like, we have our other council members here, and this would be maybe more of like a decision time or a planning time, but because there's only two of us, I don't know how much we can really make that plan. But
well, maybe we can hold this item so that is everyone's in, we can do it in a later executive session when everyone is here, just to do a due diligence. Yeah, I think we could do that, but I will say,
like, table it for the next meeting. Is that?
Yeah, I think we should table it for the next meeting. But I will say, like, as someone who's very much like community oriented, I am very proud and excited about this mission statement, and the vision statement, and the process that's gone with it and into it. It's very exciting, and I can't wait until we have it official and, and we're all working towards that vision together.
Yay. Which I will also say is I think we have been working towards it, and now we have like a little bit of the structure that we can like say clearly and succinctly.
Agreed.
And we can put plans behind it too. So I just want to clarify that, like, us creating a new mission and vision statement doesn't mean that the mission of the co-op is actually different, because we've just been doing, I think, the start of like the right path for us, and now we're just updating our mission and vision to align with the work that we have been doing and want to be doing. So, okay, and now we have our open forum. Siobhan or Donna, do either of you have anything you want to add? And it's no pressure at all. It's all good.
Nothing's jumping to mind for me, but Donna, feel free to go ahead if you got anything.
Well, I just have a question that's been on my mind for a while. Every time you do the solidarity shares versus the non-solidarity shares, and it feels like we're hovering around 10% of the membership. I might be off with the math, but I'm thinking that the purpose of, or the site was specifically in Midtown. And so I'm thinking, from what Kevius was saying, that maybe a lot of the activities this summer are to try to draw in more of the Midtown population, so that geographically we're meeting that goal. That's just something I'm thinking about.
Yeah, that actually is, that's a good point, Donna. And that's something that we've talked about a lot, like wanting to connect more with the neighborhood immediately surrounding our co-op building. And so the summer party is one way that we're aiming to do that. We are still doing a door knocking later on this summer to have some FaceTime with the people that live close by the co-op, just to sort of say like, hey, do you know what the co-op is, or, and make contact that way. So yeah, that I'm glad you brought that up, Donna.
And I'm glad to hear about the door knocking. I think that's fabulous.
Yeah, and you're right. It's about, we've been hovering around like 10 to 15-ish% of membership, and of our membership being solidarity members. And yeah, that number is too low. I think we all agree. And part of the challenge that we've been facing is, and that we're kind of like developing as we're like seeing it unfold more and more, that Siobhan and I, and the council as well, are working on ways to like develop a plan to just really deeply focus on that. And so that's a lot of like what our summer plan this year is going to be around. But yeah, it's kind of it's one of those things where like I was talking to someone today who was a member of the co-op, and they moved here from Brooklyn recently, and they joined our co-op. They were a member of the Kingston Food Co-op. They joined our co-op before they even got to Kingston, because they were like looking up like what's going on in Kingston, and they just were excited and joined. So to me, that was like a demonstration. We're grateful for all of our members, but it was a demonstration to me that like, for us, it hasn't required a lot of work. We've been very fortunate to like have a lot of support for the co-op. It hasn't required a lot of work for us to get, you know, people who are middle and upper income to join the co-op. And the challenge has been to, you know, understand how to make the co-op feel really relevant to people who aren't familiar with co-ops already, or, you know, already have their routines set or have an idea of what a co-op is and it doesn't feel like it's for them. So we're really acutely aware of it, and really are working on centering that more and more all the time, which is part of what the mission and vision realignment was about. All of this is related.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that so many of us have the luxury of thinking about co-ops and thinking about where we get our food and thinking about, you know, that's just our mindset. And then it's the people who are too busy just working maybe 1 or 2 jobs and worrying about their rent and their electricity, who don't have that luxury. So great. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing what you're doing.
Thanks, Donna. Yeah, and I think you're really right that, like, thinking about where your food comes from is a privilege, and you know, we want to, like, make it as easy as possible for people to eat good food without having to feel like, you know, they're making choices that are outside of their normal you know, comfort zone or routine or price point. So all really essential to us. I just wanted to bring back the question that came up in an email from a member about the executive session and its purpose. I guess specifically the concern was that this, and I don't know if I should read the email verbatim, but I'll just say that the concern was that you know, members should have access to all information at all times. And so the fact that we have, like, a closed executive session was concerning to this person. So I just wanted to address that really quickly because I think it's really important. You know, my answer, and Kiva, I'd love for you to answer as well if you want to, is that, you know, it's not, we don't want to, this is not a deficit in transparency. It's that we have to work through some pieces before we can present them as transparent, as, like, part of the transparency. So that's one thing. And then the other thing is, like, we're also starting a business. And so some of the portions of our work need to stay more closed so that we can have a successful business. So that's, and then the third thing is that some of our contracts, some of that comes up in our executive session. Like, for example, discussing our contract amounts for certain professionals that we're working with. That's not something that we can really, it wouldn't be responsible of us to broadcast that information to over 1,000 people because that, you know, we need to be able to kind of keep a tighter hold on that kind of thing. With that said, I think, you know, any information that members want to have access to is available to them. So if there's anything that is lacking and people want to know, please reach out to us. Kiva, do you want to add? Or
Well, you hit it right on the nose. Like, it's proprietary information, not only as an organization who's starting a business, but also other organizations who are in the mix. So we just want to be respectful of all of that. And as Katie mentioned, if you want to know anything, email us anytime. And then the biggest thing is, you know, there are over 1,000 members, right? There's some information that we get that we have to sit with and say, well, how do we release this in a way that is palatable and understandable by every single person, right? No matter who it is that checks in for this piece of information, right? We can say it and it goes over half the people's heads, and it's like, it's worthless at that point because half the people don't understand it, right? So we really use that time to make sure our message is concise, succinct, and everyone has language that that, yeah, they could just digest at the time they need to digest it. So we are not in the interest of holding any information back. Everything that we do and everything that we want to do is we hope, and really stems from the interest of the community. And we just want to make sure, we just want to make sure you know that nothing is being hidden here.
Okay, I think that might conclude our open forum. Does anyone have anything else to add? Okay, thank you, Donna, for being here. Appreciate you. So now we will enter into our executive session. Thanks everyone for listening, and anyone who is not a council member, so Siobhan. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye. Oh, wait.